You can be close to someone today, and tomorrow, they become strangers. As we move through life, we tend to get distant from some friends and make new ones due to circumstances beyond our control. It could be due to changes in location, changes in economic status, education, schooling, etc. There is one thing that is constant with all humans, and that is change. People that are good today may become bad tomorrow. People we love and cherish may walk out of our lives one day. Those that used to give us assurance and trust and mean their word to us may one day mean not. People are bound to come into your lives and also leave. It is undoubtedly painful when a loved one decides to walk out of our lives. It will take time to heal from such a painful experience. When someone who once walked out of your life or an ex reaches out to you out of the blue to have a conversation with you or come back into your life, think about what you want out of the communication first and how it will affect you first before you respond. Do not pressure yourself to respond because you are under no obligation to respond. It is your decision, and you can talk all the time you want to decide whether to respond to them or not. Oftentimes, old relationships carry with them old wounds and unanswered questions. If you feel that making contact with them could bring up the old pain for you and threaten your hard-earned joy and happiness, my dear, let it pass. It is not worth it. Take your time to conclude and think well before responding to them. When you take time to think over it again, you can judge well and analyze it. Do not feel any rush to respond, and do not let the constant disturbance of their calls, texts, and messages mislead and make you rush into choosing what you do not sincerely want from your heart. There is a tendency for you might feel an urgency to respond right away, but slowing downhill ensures that you are comfortable with your response to your ex and that you are ready to deal with speaking with them. When you slow down and analyze this matter, you will not make the wrong decisions and regret after. You may have a strong emotional reaction if you hear from an ex you have not spoken to in a long time, whether it be joy, sadness, or anger. However, try to pause before responding. It will help you gather your thoughts and become less emotional in your response. You need to be sure of your response and how you want to respond, because this may be the only reopened conversation for a while. Another thing you need to do is ensure that your response is light. You never can tell what their intentions are. When formulating your response, you may be tempted to relate with them in a very open way, but it is better to keep things light and relaxed at first, especially if you do not know why they are reaching out. You should keep your response light and open-ended to get more information on why they want to come back in your life. This way, you gather information before making any assumptions or saying anything you may regret later. When someone who once left you suddenly shows up and wants to be in your life, let's say your ex, you should not rush into a response, friendship, or rebound. You do not need to be friends right away. No matter how you decide to approach the contact that has been made, do not rush things. You may very well end up back with this person, or at the very least good friends with them, depending on how things go. But do not rush a response or decision about what you two are. That will not help the situation in any way. Number 1. A premeditated response. A premeditated response is one of the best ways to answer a surprise text or message from your ex. Even though you might have to spend some time not responding, it can save you a lot of emotional turmoil and damage later on. Some important things to remember when drafting a premeditated response are not to be rash, drunk text, or be too frantic or needy. Instead of reacting to your ex's text, you need to consider all of your options and send an appropriate reaction. If you receive a message from your ex asking if you would want to give your relationship with them another shot, you are most likely to give a reactionary response like an excited yes or an impulsive no. But a premeditated response, on the other hand, will show that you need time to think things through before making a decision. When you want to give a premeditated response, you could respond with something like this: I don't know if I want to give our relationship a chance or not yet, but I would want us to talk through what went wrong the previous time. This would help us know if getting back together is the best step to take concerning your relationship. Number 2. A neutral response. A neutral response does not set up any expectations and gives you some time to converse, feel things out, and then decide based on how you feel. It can also help you assess their internal emotions. As they continue the conversation, assess how they are coming off as. Are their texts needy, desperate, flirty, casual, or friendly? This can help you gather clues about their intentions in reaching out to you and give you some space to think about your own emotions and needs. Number 3. A straightforward response. A straightforward response works best if you already know precisely what you want. This is the perfect response if you want to keep the kibosh on and be clear to your ex about what you are willing and not willing to tolerate. This kind of response is straight to the point, clearly communicates your expectations, needs, and frame of mind, and does not give your ex any opportunity to convince you. This type of response is great when you have already made up your mind. Number 4. A confession response. A confession response is ideal when your ex apologizes, or you have realized that you probably still have feelings for them. This type of response might be a little too vulnerable, but confessing your true feelings and emotions can also be very freeing. In this response, you are being vulnerable and expressive of your feelings. Mutuality is key to making a confession response effective. Both parties must be willing to come back together. This kind of mutuality is what makes confession responses a great way to respond, especially if your ex called you to fix things. Number 5. A closure response. Everybody needs closure in a relationship. If this is not something you got when your relationship ended, use the opportunity when your ex reaches out to you to get that closure you deserve. Drafting a closure response can be stressful or very easy. There is no in between, but it is always a good way to end a traumatizing relationship. Figuring out how to respond to an ex can be very stressful. However, understanding where your feelings stand and what you want can help craft your response. Research shows that people prefer texting over talking because it takes away the awkwardness. Using this advantage to communicate your feelings clearly and get closure is an excellent way to deal with your ex. Whatever way you choose to respond to them, make sure you are not trying to hide your true feelings. No matter how the conversation goes, be sure that you are open and honest from the start time. No matter how you want the talk to go, making sure everyone is on the same page can only be a good thing.